all know that music entertains us, but there's so much more to it than that. Music is what brings us together. It can inspire, motivate, and heal. And just sometimes, a song can say everything when we can't. I'm so excited to bring you these wonderful tunes and artist stories. I'm Stacy Newman, and this is More Than the Music. Hey guys, we are in Nashville at Jeannie Seely's beautiful cabin on the river. She is an absolute Opry legend, and I am about to chat with her. I can't wait for you guys to watch. Jeannie, thank you so much for having us.
It's so good to have you here. Thank you for coming.
I am just a huge fan. You are a legend in the Nashville, especially the Opry world, and it's so cool to have you on my show.
Thank you. I've been very, very blessed in my career. The Grand Ole Opry has always meant the world to me. My mother said I was 4 years old when I turned the dial and I found the music, and that's where I wanted it to be. And she said I used to get upset because every time I turned that, I expected that to be on there and was upset when it wasn't. And I said, I still feel the same way. I think the Grand Ole Opry should be on the radio anytime we want to hear it. And you know, that's what's so great about the era we live in now with the internet. We can pretty much do that.
Yeah, everything's on demand these days.
Yeah.
Including this show, guys.
Oh, okay. Good plug. Slid right into that one. I'll drink to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, by the way.
A little version of Hoda Lee and Kathy. Hoda and Kathy Lee. I've had one too many already.
Can you tell us how you ended up here in Nashville?
I was born and raised in northwestern Pennsylvania, and I started singing real early. I went on radio at 11 years old, and then by the time I was 13, I was working with dance band, and I loved it. But you know, everybody said it's a great hobby, but you can't make a living doing that. So, and where I was from, you really couldn't. There was nothing there to work from. So my education was in banking, and that was my first job. But after I moved to California, after I got out of school and worked a couple of years, I moved to Southern California, mainly to get out of the Northeast winters. And I used my banking experience. I got a job at Union Bank on the corner of Beverly Drive and Wilshire Boulevard. I was uptown. But my interests were still down in Hollywood at Liberty Records, Imperial Records. And finally I saw an ad in the newspaper. They wanted a floating secretary. So I wanted to make a record because I was meeting all these people then who were, I didn't know how you did it, so I thought, well, go to work for a record company and you'll learn.
Yeah.
So that's what I did to start.
Awesome. So you had a 2-year span between when you got here and when you joined the Opry. What did you do in that time?
Well, when I first got here, it was October of '65. The year before, I was recording for Challenge, and they brought me back to Nashville to do my first recording, which was at RCA Studio B. I just realized it's all a fog, you know. So excited. But anyway, I was working as a Girl Friday, if you will, at 4-Star Music in the old RCA building. And my new friend worked for Porter, and she said, I've talked to Porter about you. And so on my lunch hour, I went down and sang for Porter. And Porter hired me for his road show. So a month after I got here, I would work in the 4-Star office during the day, and then back then you sent the phones to an answering service, which is so funny now. And I would board the Porter Wagner bus and go on the road with Porter. It was a wonderful experience. And I learned so much from Porter, things that I still use today. Porter's whole thing was, when they call your name, do something now. Don't walk out there. Don't start talking. Go out there, hit that stage. And psychologically, I have to do that now. I have to hit that stage with a real up-tempo thing. But that was kind of the path I took. I hated to leave Porter's show as early as I did because I admired him so much, and I was learning so much, loved everybody on it, having the time of my life. But Don't Touch Me had been released, and it was hitting, so there were too many opportunities on my own. I had to take advantage of them.
And if you hadn't left, we might not have Dolly the way we have
That's
Dolly
very
now.
true, you know. Yeah, what a great replacement.
Well,
We
it
made
seems like it worked out for you. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, talking about the Opry and what it means to me, the friendships that are formed there. Everybody has heard over and over that the Grand Ole Opry is like a family, and it truly is. They are there for you during the down times, you know, and a loss in your life and your family. They're there for you through illnesses. I mean, it's meant so much. Through the recent illness of my husband, I mean, it was just the support there has been wonderful. And they're there to celebrate anything with you, too. Of course, I always say, you're not really celebrating with me. You know, there's cake, maybe a little wine, but whatever. They're always there. But it's been sad to me in the last few years because I realized that my routine when I'd get to the Opry, I'd always go put all my stuff in my dressing room, and I'd go immediately to Jimmy Dickens' dressing room because he was always there early, and joke with Dickens for a while and get in a great mood. He just always put you in a good mood. And from there, I would go to either Jim Ed Brown or Jimmy C. Newman, whichever one I ran into first, you know. It's just kind of sad now that they're not there. And I went in Bill Anderson's dressing room not too long ago, and we talked a little bit, and he said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Nothing. I came in just because I still could." And that's just so important. But it's also why I'm enjoying meeting so many of the new people coming in. And when I'm introducing somebody, if I haven't met them, if there's any way possible, I like to go by their dressing room and meet them and build a little bit of a rapport, try to get them to laugh a little bit, share that moment, because then it comes across better on stage for them, for the audience, for me.
Speaking of new people at the Opry, you recently introduced Kaylee Shore, and I watched y'all's little chat afterwards.
Yeah, wasn't that fun?
Awesome. She's so great. I love her.
Yes, she is.
We had her on the show actually not too long ago.
She's super talented, and she's the real deal too. She knows what it's all about, and has such a great perspective on she's using her career to further what she believes in as a woman. I love that part about her and what she's done with all the other women. Speaks well of us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This leaning toward women working together rather than being competitive in the entertainment industry. I think it is so important, and I love seeing it happen.
And it's so true, Stacy. You know, back in my era, I know it was always, oh, you can't have two women. It's like they won't ever get along. It's like, you know who made that up, don't you? It was a bunch of guys. Because going back to the Porter Wagner days, when Porter hired me to do the road shows with him, it was because Norma Jean, who had been with him for so many years, wanted to take some time off the road because her daughter was going to be starting school. Everybody's excited about somebody new now, but it wasn't that way. I wasn't proven, so the promoters would say, well, yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing her, but we want Norma Jean. That's who they know. So on some of the cases, Porter took both of us. And I remember everybody say, oh, Porter's lost his mind now. No bus is big enough for two women. Well, Norma Jean and I loved it because all of a sudden we had somebody to talk to, somebody to go shopping with. The guys go play golf, we get to go shopping or just spend time together. So it's always been there, but you're right, it's never been perceived that way. And I agree with you. It's a very healthy thing.
I was reading that women are, at this point, only getting 10% of radio play, and that is really depressing. So hopefully we'll get it up there.
In my era, too, they never played two women back to back, which it's still that way. Here we are 50-something years later, And they still don't want to do that. And back then it was like, oh, I'd go by a radio station. Gee, I'd like to play your record. But Loretta was in, and we can't play but one female an hour. And I'm like, what? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And who's mostly home listening to the radio? And they also carried on the belief that women don't want to hear other women. So not true.
I think it's so inspiring to hear other women and see other women succeeding out there.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
And like I said, we have a voice. We need to make sure they let us use it. But
Preach, sister.
should we drink to that, Stacy?
Oh, surely.
Golly.
Cheers again.
Cheers to our sisters.
So you've had over 50 years now at the Opry. That's incredible. There are only,
It is.
I think, what did I read? 2 other living women that have that honor. That's.
I think Loretta and Connie and I are the only 2 living members.
Man.
Somebody said only 6 of us all together.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Like I say, that I think one thing that has helped is that support of the Opry family.
For sure.
I haven't always agreed with a lot of the Opry management. We've had clashes, but the support of the Opry family itself, I think, kept me there. Some of the time I'm surprised looking back that I am still there. Of course, I was one of a handful back in the early 70s to kind of go against Mr. Acuff to get them to recognize AFTRA as our bargaining agent so that we would have health insurance and a pension plan.
So in all that time, if you could relive one moment, I'm sure there are plenty of them, but just name one of them, what would it be?
Right high on the list would be my 50th anniversary. I mean, I could say the night I joined, but that was such a blur. And it was such a mixture of emotions. I mean, you're kind of scared, you're excited, you're thrilled, and you're petrified, and all of it. But on my 50th anniversary, there was nothing but pure joy and happiness. The only moment was when Bill Anderson read this little recitation to me, and one of the girls later said, I was standing here wiping tears. How did you maintain your composure? I said, because I kept thinking, Bill Anderson, if you ruin this mascara and these false eyelashes, you are so in trouble.
We're all aware that you're pretty great at songwriting and hosting the Opry and doing stuff like that. What is a job you would be terrible at?
Cooking. And I'm finding out I'm not a real good nurse either. But that could be that my patient's not a real good patient either.
If you could turn back time and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't marry Hank Cochran. No, I pretty much followed my dreams. I think that I probably would say work a little harder and push a little bit harder on myself. You know, I still think that I didn't reach my potential in certain areas simply because I didn't push enough. And I wish that I would have done that. For one thing, I can't read or write music. So I've been so fortunate to write so many songs, and then I think in my mind, think what you could have done had you just applied yourself a little bit harder and learned to do that. That's one of my regrets.
Speaking of your comebacks, like Patsy Cline, you guys might want to check out this book. It's full of really funny quotes, all by Jeannie Seely.
Yeah.
Don't judge the book by its author, but
Yeah.
you can get it on her website.
Yeah, that's been kind of a fun project. It's been a great tool to get to know people and for people to get to know me. You know, we're in such a fast-moving world anymore that sometimes you meet somebody, but you don't get to spend enough time. I can give them one of these books. The next time I see that person, we have something to laugh about, talk about,
For sure.
and they know me a little better and give me a chance to know them then. So when you tell me what you think's funny, that tells me a whole lot about you. You
like
are
it.
a strange lady, and I like that.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
To you, what constitutes a perfect song?
I go back to when Hank and I were, Hank Cochran, who wrote Don't Touch Me, Fred Foster had said he would sign me to Monument if we brought him the right song. So we were looking for songs, and we went through hundreds of songs. Finally, Hank said, what do you want to sing? And I said, well, I'd like a ballad. I want a song that gives me room to sing and to feel emotion. I want it to be a song that you don't have to be male or female, that you don't have to be married or single, you don't have to be young or old. Everybody could identify with the song. And Hank said, you don't want much, do you? I said, I want a hit, and I want it to reach everybody that it possibly can. And I feel so blessed because I think on the song Don't Touch Me, he filled that bill. That's that song. And that song is timeless. I mean, there's nothing dated and never will be. And it's been done blues field. It's been done by male artists, female artists. So I feel very blessed and grateful to have that song. One of the fascinating things to me about songwriting is once you write something and put it out there, it kind of takes on a life of its own. It might be a flash in the pan, or you think that's what it is, and then years later it shows up somewhere. The craziest thing for me is the song that I wrote in 63 or 64. And it was first a hit by R&B legend Irma Thomas. And then nothing happened for years. All of a sudden it shows up in 4 episodes of Black Mirror. Then I start looking up, and because people are telling me all this, all these girls in England and Scotland have recorded it. Young lady, I was honored to meet her, Samantha Waits. In fact, she visited the United States, and I was able to take her backstage at the Opry and get better acquainted, but she did an amazing recording of the song, talking about the song Anyone Who Knows What Love Is. And then it was in Little Big Lies, and somebody told me it's a theme song in a show on HBO that I haven't seen called Here and Now. And it was in the trailer for the movie Moonlight. Didn't make it into the movie. And it's in the trailer for the movie Jurassic World. Again, didn't make it into the movie. But I was so excited recently when I was doing an interview with this gentleman in LA, and he said, and now with the Seal record, and I'm like, excuse me, what did you say? He said, oh, you didn't know that. And I didn't. Seal has recorded it in a new album called Standards. How cool is that to be considered a standard?
That is so cool.
And then, in just a few weeks ago, somebody said, I can't even believe that Boys to Men have recorded your song. And I said, what? I thought they were kidding me. And I was like, no. And I searched it, and it's sure enough.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
I love that people aren't telling you that your song's getting used for these things. You're just finding out about it.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But, I'm on a need-to-know basis, I guess. But that is so inspiring to me. And there again is advice to any young writer. Don't ever give up on something. They might find it. It's just a gift. It's absolutely a gift that you're given. And this one is just, all these years later, it's just making me a very happy person.
That's
just
fabulous.
Proud. And speaking of Irma Thomas, she's also just recently been honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award for Americana music. So I know she's got to be just so thrilled about that.
Yeah.
She's, you know, she's an amazing artist and writer, and she also is a very strong businesswoman, by the way. I've found out a whole lot about her.
So she'll be in town for Americana Fest then, I assume.
I'm hoping to connect with her, and I would love, my newest dream is to maybe to do some kind of a project with Irma. I think that would be so cool. Maybe we could record a single together. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your show on Willie's Roadhouse series?
I am so excited about my new show on Willie's Roadhouse. I had never thought about. Dallas Wayne asked me one time, he said, would you ever consider being an air personality for, and I'm like, I thought I was an air personality. He said, no, on Willie's Roadhouse. He said, I'm just going to tell you, your name's been tossed around several times. So when they called me about it, I thought, well, I'm willing to give it a try. I'm having fun with it so far. Like we were talking earlier, it's a little different for me. I'm so used to working live all the time that I try to talk my way out of a corner I get in when they'll say, don't worry about it, we can edit it out. But it is fun. The hardest thing for me to remember, because they are recorded ahead of time, is to remember that I'm doing this Wednesday, but it's actually Sunday when I'm talking to people. I mentioned this on my show the other day. One of the great comments I heard recently, somebody said, that's just the way I spend Sunday now. It's Sundays with Seely.
That's
How
awesome.
cool is that?
Yeah, that's great. And being on Willie's channel is pretty cool too.
Oh, the first show that I did on Willie's Roadhouse, I found my Willie Nelson tour jacket from the 81 or.
That's awesome.
And it still fits, and so I wore it. And I said it was pretty warm in the studio, but yeah, I needed my jacket.
Jeannie Seely, what is your spirit animal?
I don't know that as an animal as much. There's a page in my book where I used to play this, used to ask people, but it said, I believe if God would have made me something other than a human being and a woman, I think I would have been a daisy, because daisies will grow anywhere, even wild, and you don't have to pamper daisies. And we last a long time. And also, you might have to tear us petal by petal, but we're going to tell you the truth.
Well, my last question for you is, what's next for Jeannie Seely?
You know, as far as any plans, I've still got some recording ideas that I want to do. I have never recorded a full gospel album, which I would like to do. I want to do an EP project with Tim Atwood. Tim and I have been friends for 40-something years, and of course worked together for 38 years at the Opry. He is now building a career on his own, which I always thought he should have been out front. So anyway, I've kind of been his mentor all this time to step out on his own. So I want to do a project with Tim. And I don't know. We'll think of something.
Well, Jeannie, thank you so much for having us. This has been just lovely.
Maybe we'll do volume 2 one of these days.
I'd love it.
Thank you for coming.
Guys, it's been awesome talking to Jeannie Seely here at her house. Pick up her book. It's really funny. We'll see you next week.